Okay, so this machine right here is the horizontal bandsaw. It's kind of like a guillotine, so be very careful. Right here we got the motor that'll run the blade. We got the blade that runs a track through this part of the machine. You've got blade guides, so use those when you're cutting. To put your piece in, your piece will go right here. You've got a clamp right here to keep your piece held in place when you're cutting. Just some tips about safety. Like always, wear some safety glasses. Use proper lubricant fluids for whatever metal you're cutting. In terms of placement of hands, touch things like this, this semi-yellow knob up here. There's also a handle back here. Do not, under any circumstances, especially when the machine is running, put your hand under here. You're probably going to lose your hand, and even worse, Matt's going to be mad at you. So just for general safety, watch out because this blade has no protector on the side of the machine. Okay, so first thing I'm going to tell you about is putting the part in. So just to cut off a piece of stock like this, first you'll bring the clamp close to it, rest it down in these grooves right here, then you can tighten it with this yellow wheel, or quasi-yellow wheel. So you can tighten that up. Next thing you want to make sure is that these guards right here are going to be able to be enough to clear your part, but at the same time you want them close enough together so that the blade stays nice and straight. So what I'm going to do it here is, in the back there's a ratchet that keeps this part held up. I'm going to lift it up a little bit. This goes down, just releases the clamp, and then I can bring the blade down so you can see how far away these guide parts need to be. So what you do is you'll loosen them up here with these thumb screws. You can bring it down, and so now this blade is just the length we need it to be. Don't rest this on your part because you don't want to hurt the blade by letting it rest like that with the whole weight of this machine on it. So now that's set up, I'll lift it back up. I can lock it back into place, and then we're about ready to cut. Okay, so when you're cutting your part, remember to make sure that the line you're cutting is going to line up with the closest side towards you of this gap right here, so that you know what the proper length you're cutting off. Also, one thing to make sure about when you're aligning the guides for the blade is that this part right here, the leftmost guide can hit, so make sure that when you put your guide set up, you make sure that when the blade comes all the way down, it doesn't hit that. So just like most of the other machines in this lab, you can change the speed at which the blade will spin. Again, softer metals you can go with a higher speed. Harder metals like a steel you can go with a lower speed. To change the speed, this is the motor right here. You can actually pivot this on this point back here. You lift it up, and that relieves the tension on this cable right here, on the belt. And then, just when you have it set back up where you want it to go, let it back down and the tension will restore. Also make sure that when you do change the speed, the motor is off. Okay, so also you can change the speed at which the blade descends at. Again, for faster, you want like a softer metal. For harder metals, you want to go the slower descent rate. It's all done by gravity and this weight right here. So when we lift the machine up and lift back on the ratchet so it starts to descend, you can see it slowly descending. If I grab onto it and pull the metal this way, away from the motor, it'll descend at a faster speed. So that's how you change the speed at which this descends at. So finally, the operation of the machine. We're not going to cut anything because it's not really necessary. In order to turn on the machine and start the blade running, it's this handle right here. You lift it up. So what you do is lift it up so it's off the ratchet. Move this back so that it goes down. Now it'll descend. And since it's automatically going to hit the switch in the off position, you don't even have to worry about turning it off.